Charles Barkley was on with Mike Lupica earlier, and he said people shouldn't blame Mike Woodson about the Knicks' struggles. The Knicks are just a bad team. Do you agree with that?
Struggles happen from the top down. You look at the most successful teams this year in the NBA, San Antonio Spurs, 4-time champions, cohesion from the top down. OKC and Sam Presti from the top down. Indiana Pacers, Larry Bird from the top down. Miami from the top down. So the Knicks have had that dysfunction, and it leads to the product you see on the basketball court. And it starts in their front court. They're the first team in NBA history to have 4 front court players all making over $10 million in the same season. And Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, and so when you do that, it really fractures the rest of your roster to the point where they haven't gotten quality point guard play and really somebody to play on the wing with Carmelo consistently.
But that being said, there's not that many changes from last year when this team won 54 games and went to the second round of the playoffs. So what has changed from last year to this year, Jalen?
Well, they're a year older. Tyson Chandler doesn't have the bounce that he used to have, rejecting and blocking shots and getting up and down the floor, catching those lobs. Felton is a year older. He's not able to break down the defense on a consistent basis, whether it's one-on-one or in pick and rolls. And just the dynamic is off. Carmelo and J.R. Smith are recipients of the basketball. When they get a rebound or they get the inbound play, that really throws off your entire dynamic of your offense. And part of that is roster. The other part is coaching.
So how much do you think that Woodson's at fault here?
Everybody gets their fair share, but I actually do think he's doing a good job because he helped develop Tim Hardaway Jr., who's becoming a productive player. I think they need to get him more minutes, but it's hard when you still are playing Shumpert and dealing with the ups and downs of J.R. Smith. So, and also when you sign J.R. Smith, you signed him after he was injured. He flamed out in the playoffs last year. I did miss the first couple of games this year. And then you have to sign him to sign his brother, and that's just all bad business that trickles down on the floor. So with that, I would give Mike Woodson another opportunity unless they're willing to go out and pay another big-name coach.
Jalen, your gut feeling, does Carmelo come back when he opts out? And should the Knicks know that now? And if they think he's not coming back, should they trade him?
The funniest thing for me is when people think it's easy to leave $30 million on the table. Okay? I'm one of those guys. At 31, you think one way. At 41, you think a whole different way. So if that's me, I'll be in New York forever. And I think if I'm Melo, he's going to consider going to other teams, but where can he really go, get top dollar, plus play for a championship? Because that's what he would be leaving on the table. LeBron's in Miami. You're not sure what's going to happen with Derrick Rose. Can't go to the Spurs. Maybe if you go to the Lakers, but they just paid Kobe Bryant 2 years and almost $50 million. And then that wouldn't allow them to build out the rest of their roster. So I think Melo stays in New York.
And if he stays in New York, can he still get that elusive championship?
In his defense, the Knicks haven't won a championship since the year I was born.
Right.
1973. And they've been to the finals as many times since then as the Nets, 94 and 99. The Nets have been more recent. I don't see that as a situation right now that's going toward a championship, but a couple of moves can help. There are players out there now. It's just about who's pulling the trigger. What's going to happen with Rajon Rondo in Boston? I'll be watching that as well.
Now, Jalen has a great podcast that you should download and listen to. He talks about all subjects, so I feel free to ask you this. The big story yesterday was Michael Sam and whether or not he's going to be embraced in an NFL locker room. Do you think that an openly gay player would be embraced in an NBA locker room, or would there be issues, Jalen?
Can you catch an alley-oop pass? Can you run, jump, dunk, and block a shot? Can you make an open jump shot? Can you guard LeBron James in the fourth quarter? Those answers are yes. It doesn't matter someone's sexual orientation. Sports is the biggest incubator where we accept one another regardless of how many kids you have, by how many women, whether you go into bed at 7 o'clock at night. Pac-Man Jones got arrested 19,000 times, and he played at least 10 years in the NFL. I think Michael Sam will be just fine. The problem is actually not him, it's us. Because in 2014, somebody coming out about their sexual orientation is actually breaking news. It's almost sad for our country.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but hear me out, and let's see if you understand what I'm saying, Jalen. If it's no big deal, and as you say, if you could play, it doesn't matter, There's got to be a gay person that's played in the NBA that's playing in there right now. Why are they so reticent to come out then if it's not a big deal?
Some people live their lives in front of the camera and want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be on the red carpet, want to do all of the interviews, have to be front and center. Some people, that's just not their personality regardless of their sexual orientation. Some people are out in public. You see certain players with their kids and their wives and their girlfriends, and some players you don't. It's the exact same thing. And you have that right as a human being to live your life the way you choose.
What about when you hear Jonathan Vilma say that some players would be uncomfortable showering or changing in front of them?
I think that's ignorant. Because to your point, whether said or unsaid, we live in a society where people choose to do what they choose to do, and you can't judge, you can't criticize, and I don't think it's going to make somebody else uncomfortable, especially if he's going to sack Peyton Manning on 3rd and 8. That's all they worried about.